So Danya, I'm in a very dire situation. If I
Mm-hmm.
don't hit 2,500 bullet in the next 16 days, I have
Mm-hmm.
to shave my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wouldn't be a good look. I really like my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And right now my rating is 2366. I
Right.
will say I have flirted with 2480 off
Okay.
stream, and that was
Dang.
maybe last week. So all hope is not lost, but we're really gonna need the assist here.
I will do my absolute best. You have my word, and I'll try to make time. We can do several sessions. Um,
Danya's like, you're screwed. I'll make myself
absolute.
available.
I think you've got a good shot at it. I mean, especially since you were 2480. And are you? Do you usually hover? Or have you hovered around the high 2300s on stream, or are you really up and down?
On stream, my floor is usually 2,400. When I fall under 2,400, I get so tilted that I
Right.
go towards 2,350. Once I hit 2,400, I can go between the 40s to the 60s on stream.
I gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me lay out a little bit. I put some thought into some of the things that we can do. Maybe I can share with you sort of a broad picture of some of the stuff that perhaps we can do, and maybe you can add your input as well as your
Mhm.
general thoughts on sort of your strengths and weaknesses bullet wise. So I've never done a bullet session, so forgive me for anything that doesn't work out. We can do a
Danya,
bunch
I
of
have
different things.
nothing but gratitude for you being here to help
I
out. So
appreciate
don't
that. No,
don't sweat it.
it's a lot of fun for me, and I'm embracing the challenge. So
Danya, we can't lose the hair.
I know I got the message. I will be.
Okay.
I will pull out every stop. So I will
Okay.
hold no
Okay.
prisoners.
Okay.
Brook no trespass. Okay, so I guess we can separate this into two things. There's sort of what I would call technique or mechanics, and there's a bunch of stuff we can discuss about, about pre-moving and sort of what your openings look like in bullet, and stuff like adding a little bit of a dirty component to your play,
I have
which
that usually, but sometimes I think it could get dirtier. So I'm looking for the tips.
right, and I'm sure that most of this stuff you're already implementing, but there's a lot of that to talk through. So we'll incorporate that into the training overall. And then in terms of the actual practice, in terms of the actual drills, to work on your speed and work on your technique, we basically play odds games where like I blunder my queen on move two, and you have 30 seconds to beat me. So we basically play 30 seconds odds chess, or 1 minute odds chess. So that's a basic way I think of working on your technique and working on your speed. Thank you,
Okay.
Shasta Vestibutal.
All right.
Perfect.
Good
Oh, you
luck.
can start the games. Awesome.
Wait. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds because I want you to play like my opponent.
Yeah, exactly. I think that correction will approximate the level that you play against.
I gave you 25.
Perfect. That works. All right.
See, these are the kinds of positions that I don't know how to play.
Right. Okay. I resign. That was a great game, Alexandra. I think you're gonna have no trouble hitting 2,500. I have nothing left to teach you. Beautiful win, 15 moves. Whoa, just inconclusive. Thanks for the 3,000.
Okay,
Amazing.
yeah. So the opening went astray. Thank you for that resignation.
So do you want to go over each game individual, or do you want to play like 5 or 6 games and then go over all together? What do you prefer? Thank you, GD.
What do you think is faster? Because you could test all my. We could do something where you test all of my systems.
Yes.
You see where the problems are, and then we go
Perfect.
after.
The way
Okay.
That's exactly what I had in mind.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna set it now. People in the chat are like, "He let her win." You don't say. You don't say.
What? No, I got
I think
completely
I'm just
outplayed.
a better bullet player. You know.
I mean, if I can survive over 15 moves against you, I consider that a great success.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Okay. Just play fast, as if. It's
Yeah. I'll play very fast.
Dude, I hate the same-ish also. I used to
Okay.
play the C5 line. I don't play it anymore. So I go for these kinds of systems and everything.
Yeah, this can unfortunately get you mated pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is okay for black, but it's super risky in blue because you see your G files closed and you have no attack going against me. But you won a pawn, so I think that's reason enough for me to resign. I
did win a pawn, so I think I nailed it.
Right. Okay, let's try the fianchetto.
Oh shoot! I don't play this line. I play d5.
Oh, you play d5 against fianchetto.
Yeah,
you want to go d5 now, and I'll waste a move.
Sometimes I play too quickly, and if this were an actual bullet game, I would panic and play into this. As you can tell, my openings are actually
your openings are amazing. It's just you're basically winning out of every. You are winning.
Do you think I could write an opening book, Danya? Would you maybe? You know,
I'm surprised you haven't done that yet.
Yeah, it was actually on my to-do list. Okay. Wait, let's try that again.
All right.
Wait, don't accept.
Yeah, I won't accept.
Okay, go ahead. 3-0. Shit, I'm gonna adopt you, by the way. Oh, it's interesting because when you play it like this, I actually don't play my line correctly.
Oh,
I only
you
do
can
it
play
when you
c6, d5, queen a5.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you play early queen h5.
That's a joke. I'll respect that one out of respect. Okay, try.
You're not gonna adopt me though.
I need to be nice. You're a coach, you know. Okay, wait. Try the fianchetto again.
I'll play g3 early this, and that's how most people play it. I almost mouse this.
Oh, yeah. So this is so you trick me when you play it like this, and I don't actually play d5. No, you're right. So in this
do you play
order,
the Grunfeld against this?
I don't. It's only if you play d4 later that I'll play d5. So I was just trying to.
For bullet, I think that sounds a little bit too complicated.
It is.
I mean, if you want just to stick with the King's Indian, that would be the best option. And we could look at a quick system.
I should play it with d6. Okay. I'll let you keep testing lines.
All right, let me think about what I want to play. So we got that. We go knight bd7. Okay, let's do. I will actually look up what people play against you as well after I finish testing your systems.
That is way too nice. I don't deserve that.
You got this in the bag, so I'm just.
Yeah, I took your pawn, Danya. Oh, I guess.
You actually have a good position here, so.
Thank you. This is the first one. I'm not gonna lie, it's the first time.
Four pawns attack. You're good against the 4 pawns attack.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so. Oh, whoops, I'm black. Yeah.
Okay, I'll abort. All right, again.
Now, careful about pre-moving g6 because I'm gonna try to trick you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
dirty.
I thought that's what you meant. I was wrong. I'm sorry.
Have you faced knight c3?
I got so excited. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, you thought that's the dirty move I was going to play. Sorry, I didn't understand. I
thought you were gonna try to Lafong me.
I've graduated from that to other dirty tricks.
I believe it. That's kind of like your first one, you know.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
Good?
I mean, reasonable. Reasonable. Let me qualify that statement.
Okay. It's like when you said you have a good chance to not be bald. It's like that's not what a girl wants to hear ever. I want to be certain I'm not going to be bald.
C6 was the winning move there. Yep.
Was it actually?
No. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask if you thought it was actually a good move. Probably was.
It's decent. C6 d5. But we're going to work on the King's Indian because my philosophy is that openings might be playing a much bigger role.
I think they're actually playing a huge role in bullet because they make me lose so much time, and I guess.
Yeah, it's not an intuitive thing. People will think that's weird, but I'm actually getting the sense that when you get your type of position, and I know that from all of our odds matches, you can play 2600 strength easily. But these passive, when you get your type of position, you want to? Okay, I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing.
No, you're good.
But I truly believe that. I think when but these passive positions with no plan, I can see what you're saying. It's you burn a ton of clock, and then even if you climb out of it in the end, you're just very low on time.
Exactly.
Okay, let me try one more for now.
Okay.
And then I will look up what people actually play against you with the greatest frequency, and we'll go from the order of that. Okay, let's go just like some h3 stuff. Let's see how you just general ideas.
That's a blunder I often do.
Still, that's actually decent for black. Whoops, I blundered my queen there, so I'm going to resign.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that definitely gives me a good sampling. If you just give me 1 second, I'm going to check on this opening tree site what people actually play against you most frequently.
Okay.
It's not a bribe. I play the King's Indian, so it's helpful for me to review these concepts.
I know it's not, and you're doing me a huge favor, and I appreciate you trying to.
I know you do.
Like it isn't. Thank
it's
you
good
so
to be
much.
appreciated. It is a pleasure. So, okay. So e4, d6. So you play knight bd7 to avoid the exchange variation, right?
Yeah, because the exchange variation is a pain in bullet. It's just not worth it.
I completely agree. And has anyone played e5 against you here?
Nope.
No, nobody does e5. Okay.
Nobody does it.
So
I was just
it's not a good move.
Take and play knight g4.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm pulling up I have some chess-based notes here. And I'm going to fire up the engine in case we need to check something. So e5, yeah, so e5, one moment. You take and go knight g4. And the only thing white can try is like e6. You just take it. And if they go here, then you have very simple move. Knight takes f2, and you're winning everything. You beat them to the punch, basically.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so that's not a problem. So castles e5.
So castles.
E5,
yeah. And then I play e5.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just let you control it. Sorry.
Sure, no problem. So d5 is actually not the best move. But I know that it's
Bishop
the most commonly
E3
played.
is extremely annoying.
It's
and
the main line.
I really struggle with Bishop E3.
It's the best. Yeah, Bishop E3 is the best line.
Yeah.
So let's start with Bishop E3 now.
Because Bishop E3, my mind just gets confused.
Absolutely. So I'll show you. I'll present an idea, and by all means, you can say no. It's I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the lines that you play. So E takes D4, which you played against me. This is a structure that I have a lot of experience in. You can play this kind of structure successfully, and I like this structure when white makes certain concessions beforehand. But here white basically has an ideal setup, so I assume you get this structure pretty frequently, and you're sort of floundering around here.
Yep, very much floundering
So at some point I'll show you the tricks in this structure, but a move that actually is quite good in this position is to start with rook e8. I used to play this as my full-time line.
Oh, wow.
It looks bad. It actually...
It looks like he's going to play d5.
Well, yeah, and here there's a rerouting of your pieces, which, again, the good thing about it is that you can almost play it automatically. It makes it hard for white to attack, and I've won a couple of classical games here. You start with the move knight h5. Now, your basic point, this is very rare in the King's Indian, is you're going to get your bishop to e7, your knight to g7, and then you're going to play f5 quickly. So, normally, 1 second, let me just make sure I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, are you lying? Danya, is someone paying you to get me bald?
Exactly. Sabotage, total sabotage. So no, knight h5 is the move. And almost everybody here with white plays g3 in response. Now, and I don't know how your opponents generally play these types of positions, but if they don't play g3, you're going to play knight f4. And you're going to try to eliminate the bishop and quickly play f5.
Your opponents instead of bad opponents. I think actually most people here would not know to play g3, or maybe they would.
Yeah, and once you start playing this, it's not like this is our last session. We'll see what people end up playing, and we will look accordingly. So one good idea is to meet before with the move a5. You generally want to test people. Now, the more of this tension that you create in bullet, the better. This is a source of tension that you control. Why? Because if they take on a5 and you ignore this, not a problem. It's okay. What I mean to say is if you forget to take on a5 because you've pre-moved, that's okay. If you take on b4 and they've pre-moved, they lose a knight. Yeah. So I would define this as a pressure point that you control. That's why these moves are really good at time pressure.
Frame it in terms of bullet and time pressure.
I mean, I'll try to give you, not all of the moves I'm about to say are necessarily, strictly speaking, the best, although this one is. And now you go knight f4. Now, if he takes, this is always going to be good for you, even if you drop this pawn.
Yeah, now, I remember this from the white side of the piece.
How are you going to follow up with black, like queen d2?
Let's see. I'm very tempted to push g5.
That's a good move.
Not to protect it, but to go for the center. Or knight e5.
Knight e5 is, I would say, even better. And then you have a beautiful square here. You're much better.
Okay.
So, and otherwise, your goal is to take on e2 and quickly go f5 now. Once you go f5, then you go knight f6, and you're good. Yeah, my guess is probably not too many people will play g3. If they do, you go bishop f8.
Oh my god, this is so easy to remember. A fast
It is. And the point of this is that you make it harder in the long run for white to play c5. So the main line goes knight e1, knight g7. And I've had a couple of classical games that went this way, bishop e7. And then you're ready to play f5, knight f6, and Boris Gelfand lost the classical game here with white. This is a pretty dangerous system.
So black is going for queenside stuff here, and black is going for the usual b4, c5, right?
White usually, yeah. White goes b4 some of the time, and you go f5. And your next move, almost regardless of what white is going to do, is going to be knight f6.
Okay.
And 1 second. You can also start with f5, then play bishop e7. It doesn't really matter. So queen d2 is the main move here, by the way, instead of b4. If they play b4, okay, so if f3 here, then you want to go bishop g5. And you know that in the King's Indian, it's a good idea to trade dark squared bishops and keep light squared bishops, right?
Yes.
So this is the bishop, the one that I've highlighted that you want to keep. So bishop g5
for
here.
sure, because this is the one you use on sack sometimes, and you have the queenside attack, whereas the other one is just blocked off. Yep.
Precisely. So if they take, you take, then you go knight f6, f4, and you just blast through on the king side. This other knight can go into h5, by the way.
Okay.
So that's a very basic rundown of the d5 line. Now
I'm going to save the PGN at the end, so just don't delete any variations.
No, of course. Now, white can also stall with queen c2 or take on e5. Do you anticipate people doing that?
Stalling with queen d2? I mean,
or queen c2.
Queen c2? No, queen c2 is not a bullet move. I think taking on e5 or pushing d5 is
okay, so let's look at d takes e5.
Okay.
So d takes e5.
D takes e5 is the harder one for me to play. d5, a5 is not so bad.
Right. That makes sense. So here you're gonna blast people, because the bottom line is, what is black's ultimate plan? You want to unfurl your pieces. So you want to take this square under control. How do you do that?
Knight b6 or c6.
c6. Usually you want to do it with pawns. And then you have all of these weak squares in white's camp that you want to occupy with your pieces. You want to do it methodically. So what is white going to do here? I mean, queen c2 is reasonable, h3. It doesn't actually really matter. You're going to play c6. Then you're going to bring the queen to e7.
Okay.
A lot of people put their queen on c7. I think it's better to put it on e7.
Why? That's actually interesting, because I'm always trying to decide between these two squares.
Because queen e7 brings the c5 square under control, which makes possible to move knight c5.
Got it. Okay, so queen e7.
And it's just a little bit more energetic. So let's say c6, rook a d1, queen e7. And also you are discouraging white from playing c5. And now you're going to have two ways of dealing with this knight. The ultimate setup is to go either knight f8 or knight c5. Sorry. Then go bishop g4, trade it for white's knight. And do you see where this is leading up to? What is your ultimate goal?
So you're trying to take on f3. Well, then
why would you do that? What square are you softening up for that knight to occupy potentially?
d4?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to go knight f8, bishop g4, take, and then go knight e6, move the other knight over, and then go knight d4. It sounds like it's a million moves, but the reality is you can be flexible, and white doesn't have a very good plan here.
It's a very straightforward plan. So in this position, let's say white plays something like h3.
Okay.
Do you play knight f8?
Yeah, you can play knight f8 or knight c5. I like knight f8.
Okay. It's just that so now you don't have this plan anymore, right?
You don't have this plan, but you have a different plan. You can go knight h5, knight e6, and then put one knight on f4, and sort of eye the d4 square. They're going to end up doing something that's going to allow you, in my experience, to put a knight on either d4 or f4. It's very hard for white to play this kind of position.
Right. So basically with black, you're deciding between the d4 and c4 square. And then in this position, since g4 wasn't allowed for your bishop, that's why you're just rerouting your knight anyway to f4. Because you don't want to push too many pawns by the king.
Exactly. And you also can go with the old traditional idea of knight h5, f5.
Do you go for f5 pushes in this kind of position?
Sometimes. Not in bullet, though. I mean, that's more of a classical thing. I would refrain from it until you've deployed all of your pieces to the proper squares. Now, in terms of the bishop, there's nothing wrong with b6, bishop b7. It's not glamorous, but it's fine. And remember also at some point the idea of c5 and knight d4. Be careful about white putting the knight on d5, but that's sort of a thing you'll have to weigh on the spot.
Okay, so b6, bishop b7, knight e6, knight h5. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep, and knight f4, and then you can start considering various sacrifices on g2 and h3. And stuff like that. We can also play some games with colors reversed. Like I take black in a position like this and demonstrate some of the ways to put pressure in bullet. We'll do that at some point.
Okay,
so that makes sense from a general point of view?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the key memory marker is this move rook e. You don't take on d4. Now rook e8 threatens ed and knight takes e4. So if they screw around, they go rook e1. Some people do that in bullet. They just like subconsciously copy. You just take in knight e4.
Yeah.
You play ed. Knight e4, and just one clarification that if they give you a check on d4, just go back to f6 and you're solid. Your other knight.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and then you want to go knight c5, get your bishop out, you're up a pawn for no compensation.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, and this line once you get your feet under you is going to serve you very well, I think. Now, last sort of mainline King's Indian thing, before we move on. I know that most people aren't going to play queen c2, but I do want to show you how to play this position really quickly, if that sounds good to you, in case you get this.
It sounds great.
I've had this for forever. So first of all, you want to go
knight c5 is very
always
intuitive, easy, and then f3, I'm guessing.
Yes. Now you always want to follow this move up, so you don't want to go a5. Most of the time.
Okay, see, because this is a habit that I would just push immediately.
So, I mean, you can, but I like going c6.
Interesting. And you're not afraid of b4?
No, because I'm going to go knight e6. The point of this system with black is to make them overextend themselves, particularly in bullet. You want undefended pieces in as high of a quantity as possible.
Okay.
So try to play white here. Try to make a couple of moves.
All right.
And I'm going to walk you through. You take with the bishop.
Yeah, you're taking with the bishop, so I don't want to do that. So I guess if I'm white here, I'm going to play it a little slowly. Rook f1.
So now I'm going to play this move knight h5, which sets up a bunch of tricks of varying types.
Okay.
Now, one thing I want to clear up, you can play a5 like at some point. I'm not saying you never make that move, but what I'm telling you is that b4 is not something to truly be afraid of in most cases. Yeah.
Right.
Now and if they take on e6, a lot of people will see the move c5 and they'll think they're winning the pawn, but they miss the forest for the trees. You're already better with black. How would you play here?
How would I play here if they push c5? Let's see. So what do we have going on? So d takes c5 is an option. My knight is looking towards the f4 square. It doesn't really do anything. We have a pin on the knight, which makes d5 slightly interesting.
Yeah, and as soon as something slightly, and that's reason enough to play it in bullet. So you're relying so heavily on your intuition. When you see stuff like this, you do it immediately.
Okay.
d5, ed, and bishop takes d5 is very good here to rip open the e-file, and everything is just falling apart for white.
Okay. And this position can happen. I mean, this is the kind of thing if white just slow plays it, how you should go for it, right? With knight c5, c6, knight e6, knight h5, because this is a very common idea.
Yeah, and some people won't play b4, though. And if they don't play b4, nothing changes. Like, if they go rook d1, you want to put your queen again on e7. Not on c7, on e7. And then you want to play knight h5. Now, one last idea is, once you play knight h5, I'm making a random move for white. In this position, you notice that the bishop on e3 is unprotected, which opens up the possibility for what move?
Okay, well, d5 and f5 come to mind.
And which one seems less risky, more King's Indian-y?
f5 seems like the natural one.
And it is, because you're going to go f5, fe, or f5, f4, and then you're going to put your bishop on e5. You've got a great position.
Okay. Got it.
The key is to play very actively in these structures.
And that's another reason why you want your queen on e7, not just c5, but because of the semi-open e-file.
Exactly. The queen's just better placed there overall.
Okay.
And that's the bottom line in these structures.
So this is what you play against the bishop e3 line. Just rook e8 is the key move here.
Rook e8 is the key move.
I've been taking on d4. So no more taking, and I just wait for white to take. What happens if white keeps the tension? That's what we just looked at, right?
Right.
Rook e8 and then queen c2.
Yeah, so rook e8, queen c2. Now I would take on d4. So here's, you taking on d4 too quickly is not such a big problem. because you do get this structure in an improved version. It's included the moves rook e8, queen c2, which is good for black. And now continue with the typical moves that we talked about.
Knight c5,
Bingo.
then knight e6 is what we... Oh,
not immediately. You don't want to play them unless they played b4.
Because I want to prompt them to play it, right?
So if it's uncomfortable for you to allow b4, you could play a5 here. Like, I have no problem with that.
No, I'll allow it. I played c6 is the line you go for here.
So let's say I go here.
So queen e7, just move out of the way.
Sure, that's a good move. Okay, let's say I go rook fe1.
Okay, maybe just prepare with knight
Bingo.
h5.
Okay, let me go bishop f1.
Okay. So I'm not going to go f5 because now you have your rook on e1s. I don't want to go knight e6 just yet, so maybe just develop unless...
Good move. No, that's a good move. And one way you could deal with this is go bishop e5.
Okay,
and then quickly go queen h4.
Okay. This at least seems a little bit sharper and might be scary in bullet. So maybe bishop e5 is a better bullet move.
Yes, and you can go knight e6 on your own volition to get the knight over to f4 to put pressure on their knight. This also defends the d6 pawn.
Okay.
Queen h4 ideas become possible. People, 24, 25, they're likely to freak out here and do something irrational.
After bishop e5 and queen h4?
I think so. I mean, I've won just countless bullet games with this setup in these kinds of positions.
Because they just worry. Okay, no, I like it. So bishop e5.
Right.
And then I guess you just play bishop f2, right?
Bishop f2, and now it would be a good time actually to step back to e6 and put pressure on the knight.
So there is a moment where you put the knight to e6 before being pushed, and that's after
it's
you've
just a good
gotten the
move.
other pieces out. Okay.
Yeah, basically yes. That's like a way to put more pressure once you've already gotten some pieces out. Exactly.
Okay, makes sense.
And then you can involve your queen. You'll get the hang of these positions pretty quickly, but if you know these main moves, you'll be good.
Perfect. So I'll stick to these variations then.
Right. And we'll definitely play some practice games in these positions.
Yeah, I'm gonna save them and review them too because I need to. The stakes are high. I need to start learning all of these because in bullet, right, you have to know things by heart. It's not enough. It's just if you know things by heart and then you play by your intuition, it helps so much.
Right. And one future session all we'll do is just like play these problematic openings
also,
and talk about it.
It's insane that you're 1,000 points higher rated than me in bullet. That's insane. Holy.
Well, once you reach 2,500, I'll only be 813 points away.
Exactly. I'll be gaining.
So did you save the PGN? Can we?
Yeah, I saved it.
Perfect. So that's the classical variation. That's most of what's played against you.
So maybe then we could just let me save this again and rename it as classical, and then we could do a new PGN just so I don't get it confused.
Sure. Okay, so cool. I don't want to bore you to death with openings, so maybe we can do just one more line and then
very
we
helpful. Dania, this is extremely helpful. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, of course. And anybody in the chat who's like, this is crucial
I'm sorry.
work.
I don't want to bore your chat.
No. I'm saying this is like, I think everybody understands this is crucial work, and the people who just shirk openings for their whole life, unfortunately, you have to pay the price for it at some point. And I've been one of those people, but okay, so how concerning is the French for you, and is there something within the French that concerns you with black?
Yeah, actually, and I'm just gonna ask quickly about the lines that I looked through today. So I think advanced line, if I had some tips on that, and then honestly, I know theory here, and this is somewhere where you could help me because it's not like I don't know the lines.
Yeah.
I just find them so hard to play in bullet.
Yes.
So
they are.
And then here a6, and I play the queen b5 line, and even in stuff like this, I find it so hard to play these as black in bullet. These kinds of close positions where sometimes you have to castle queenside, other times you castle kingside, and g4 f5 in bullet is just terrifying.
Right. So there's two options. We can definitely look into this and make some refinements. But Andrew Tang, has made a career out of playing. Have you ever played DE4? And I know this is a bad reputation, but it's actually an amazing bullet opening. Would you consider it, or would you prefer to stick?
Absolutely. I just promoted the line. And I'm deleting the entire side variation.
And what makes this really good, and I've struggled against DE4 my whole life, what makes this really good is it has a reputation as a really passive line, not dangerous. White usually plays the same setup in bullet every game. It's very easy to fall asleep and get into a really bad position really fast. And that's basically what I've done many, many times. So have you? I assume you've seen this before, and you know that knight d7 is the main follow-up.
Yep.
Okay, one sec. I've opened like.
I have actually looked at this line a little bit before, but a long time ago.
Okay, so almost everybody, and I'm just opening up my notes on ChessBase. Just give me a second. Mm-hmm. Almost everybody plays the same setup for white. They play knight f3. Mm-hmm. And well, what do you think you do here? It's super intuitive.
Usually I play either knight f6 or bishop e7.
Knight f6, and develop your knights. People take. You take back. Mm-hmm. Now, almost everybody plays bishop d3. There's a million moves here. Your responses are going to be the same, but in my experience, most people do this. Now you play c5.
Yep, that's what I was going to arrow.
So the most popular, and once again, we'll start with the setup that I find people doing all the time. It's d takes c5, although they don't have to do that. Of course, you take.
Yep.
Okay, they either castle. Yeah, they usually castle, and so do you.
Mm-hmm. Are there any ever tricks with like bishop b5? You just play bishop d7, right? Bishop
b5, bishop d7. Yeah, in your open position, you're good.
I mean, this is already so much easier to play than the other line. Of course, I do like the fact that white has pressure on this knight, so you don't play anything like bishop e7. That would be weird.
No, so there's only like one or two interesting things you have to know here, and the move is b6. Mm-hmm. The move is b6. Now, your goal is to play bishop b7. You've got beautiful bishops, and here's the key rule: you are usually not worried about moving your queen away from the pin, even though they can play bishop f6 gf. Mm-hmm. That is going to be good for black because you're going to move your king away and use the g file and mate them.
Okay.
Now, some people go bishop b4 here. That's
hacks. Actually hacks.
This is going to be... I think you're going to enjoy the system because it's you play the same moves against everything and people struggle against it. So bishop b4 is a blunder. Can you tell me why?
Because you take the queen and then take the bishop.
You take the queen and take the bishop. So the main move, everybody plays queen e2. Now you continue developing naturally.
Okay, so bishop b7.
Yeah, rook a d1, and here, rook a d1, and here apply the rule that we just discussed and try to find where you would put the queen. Yeah, queen c7, super natural. Now, bishop takes f6, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of people are going to just immediately take.
Yeah, I think they'd be very tempted to just take.
And I don't know, bishop b4 is the main move here, which leads to a position where black is on comfortable side of equality. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else. People might play knight d2. What do you feel like is reasonable here? What do you think we might expect from people?
So I think the scary idea is queen d2 just because as soon as people see check, they tend to go for it and pull it.
Right. So king g7 here. Oh, knight d2 or queen d2?
Knight d2, I was thinking.
Okay. So if knight d2, you need to intercept the light squared bishop by playing f5.
Okay, right. Because if I play king h5, is that not
king h8 you can play, but they can. I think they might be able to force like a perpetual. That's like.
Right. Okay.
So let me check.
So the rule here will be just to push f5 right away.
King h8 is good too, but yeah, f5 is great if they play knight d2. Mm-hmm. And if they play queen h5, then king h8 is good. Yeah, and rook g8, and you can mate them pretty quickly.
This looks very comfortable.
Right, it is, and. If they're good, they'll find a way to trade the bishops, but you'll be left with the bishop against the knight, which is pretty easy to play.
Okay.
So the main move, and really the only way to equalize for it, is bishop e4. And if you try this system out, we'll see what people actually play. Mm-hmm. So you play rook fd8 here. Mm-hmm. If they take on b7, then queen takes b7. Okay. And here's the thing. If white tries to like trade everything off the board, they're going to be worse. So takes. If they try this, right?
Yeah.
You take, and now can you centralize your queen?
I mean, I guess I don't play queen d5. I play queen e4 because I want to keep pressure on c2. The knight is kind of tied in. My king has escaped squares. This is much nicer to play as black and bullet. And
by this point, you've played quickly. They've spent like 20 seconds, and you've got a million improving moves, as you said. f5, b5, tactics along the diagonal. This is likely to arise against some people, this particular position, actually. So that's like the most... We went down the most popular route, which is not white's best line, of course, if white knows what to do.
But, yeah, okay.
How is this looking so far?
This is looking really good so far. Good bullet line.
Stop me if you're not feeling comfortable. I will not be offended. So bishop f4, you also go b6.
Swap my line to this. Okay, perfect. So b6.
And your bottom line is going to be, you have to exercise your judgment. So you're not literally going to play c5 against absolutely everything. The only other move I wanted to talk about right now, because we also want to take a quick look at the advance, is so bishop g5 is possible in this position. I think some people might play.
Right, I have seen bishop g5 as well, and I usually play bishop e7, which I don't think is a good idea anymore. Or maybe not as necessary.
You actually can play c5 here. You can play, let me see, h6 is a move. Let me see what the good people do in this position. Bishop g5 is not that common. Yeah, so h6 is a good move. h6, bishop h4, c5. Just get the bishop out of the picture and then go c5.
Okay.
Most people will check you on
why
b5.
do you have to get the bishop out of the picture first? What was the difference in bishops on g5?
Well, it's a good idea to have in your pocket the move g5.
Okay.
So, and also just the lufts for when you castle short, I think is just a pretty significant improvement. Now, bishop b5, you're not afraid of. You just go bishop d7. Takes, queen takes. And you might get the same structure. This structure is almost always going to be good for black.
Okay.
So,
and in this position, it's kind of similar to the other one, except for I have h6. So let's say he takes, and I take back, and is there a situation where queens are on the board? And if that's the case, do I castle queenside or kingside? I
would castle queenside, and also I would add that you can play queen c6 here. You can keep the queens on the board, play rook d8 with tempo, and pick the pawn off with your bishop. And you can even keep your king on f8 or in the center. White doesn't have the firepower really to do anything to it.
Okay. Okay.
So
I'm pushing for a win.
Yeah, and I will say that there's a couple of systems here that are a little bit annoying. There's g3, for example, which I myself play with white. But black can equalize here. And my proposal would be that you try this in a couple of games. It's not like you're going to get blown off the board already. You know the main moves. And we see what people end up playing most of the time.
Okay, so
unless you want to take a look at some of these other lines, I'm happy to show you.
I think this is okay. So with g3, were you just saying that you don't go for c5?
So yeah, the point of g3 is that it's aimed against c5. So the most reliable line here is just to play. One sec, let me see. It's just to play bishop d7.
Why is this aimed against c5?
Because if you play c5, you're going to run into a situation. c5 is not terrible. It's been played many times. You're going to run into a situation where it's hard to develop the bishop.
Okay. Basically, and you're opening up the bishop with tempo because you're
Exactly. No, c5 has been played by many GMs, and it's not bad, but white is slightly better there. So there's a cool line where you play bishop d7. Now, if white plays bishop g2, what do you think you do here? What's the follow-up to bishop c2?
Promote the variation. 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, so bishop g7, and you were saying, what was your question?
Okay, so if bishop g2, then what would you do?
What would I play here? Okay, so c5, I almost don't want to do anymore. Bishop c6 is interesting.
That's correct. Just contest white's bishop, and the other bishop goes to d6. You castle.
I mean, it is kind of implied if bishop d7 was the right move.
Right, and this equalizes. This was played by the specialist of the line, Georg Meyer. Now, white sometimes goes knight e5. Yeah, I hated him when he played
of
this.
The French.
But he plays this all the time, and I would roll my eyes every time, which is why you would play it, of course, because people hate facing this.
Yeah.
Now, here you go bishop c6, and after knight c6, you have queen d5. That's the point of the line, actually.
Ooh. Oh, that's nice. This is very cute.
Yeah, and Meyer played this 4 times. 4 out of 5 times this position arose was a Meyer game.
I mean, he's a specialist for a reason, right?
Yeah, he finds all these little crazy tricks here, and so black is completely fine here. Bishop d, white can't castle short, so for a bullet perspective, this is a good position.
Yeah, no, this is great. Okay, this is good. Should I save it here?
Sure. And if you want, we can also look at the advance, and then you can save it, or
I'm just gonna save the different variations. If that's okay.
Perfect.
Name one classical French. Okay, and then the advance would be great too, because I get the advance so often in bullet, and it's another one that I've looked up theory, but I think just pushing me towards the right line would make a difference.
So I have a cool line against the advance that you could consider.
Okay, so let's just go for the cool line, because I already know that mine I've looked at theory, and even the lines that are supposed to be okay, I don't enjoy bullet.
Perfect. So let me pull up my file. I have a file on this. French advance, knight h6 black. Okay. This is a couple of years old, but it's still pretty decent for bullet, I think.
It's okay for me. A couple of years old is good.
So, good to hear, good to hear. So
I can't
c3.
believe you came to the lesson and you don't even have fresh theory. That's actually
horrible. I'm getting worse and worse. I'm degrading. So, knight c6, knight f3. Now, I assume, play queen b6?
I should play queen b6. I usually go c takes d4, knight e7, and knight f5 in
yeah,
bullet,
that's
but
bad.
I've also looked at the queen b6 line.
So the line that I'm recommending to is knight h6.
Oh, okay, that's more.
That's a sideline, and it's dangerous if white doesn't know what to do, because here's the thing.
Oh wait. Do you mind if I just reset it so that my files?
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Sorry. Okay, so here we were. And promote variation. Sorry, I'm just cleaning it.
As long as you need, no problem.
All right. So here, c4, 3, knight c6, and then knight f3.
Yeah, knight h6. And the idea is obviously to put the knight on f5. Now, most people, I assume, will play the way that they would play against queen b6. So either a3 or bishop d3.
Mm-hmm. And taking on h6 is bad, right?
Taking on h6. So if they take on h6, you take. And it's not that bad, but it's very risky. Because you're going to go bishop g7, castle, quickly f6. And you're going to get massive play on the king side. So to be specific, bishop e2 is the main move. Then you go bishop g7, and I know the bishop looks bad, but you are eventually going to go f6. Castles.
Okay, so you do castle, YOLO.
Exactly. And after knight bd2, the move in my file is actually queen b6.
Queen b6. Interesting. So you gave away your knight on h6, and you are putting pressure on b2. You're missing a c1 bishop. But what if you just play something normal like rook b1?
Yeah, so if rook b1, he gives up the pawn.
Ooh.
You take. So you're threatening the pawn.
So you have to play knight b3 almost.
Well, then you win the other pawn. White's not gonna survive here for very long.
And this is not my queen is not getting trapped.
Nope.
It has an escape route. Oh.
And then you want to play f6 at the right moment.
Okay, wait. So what is white supposed to do here?
White's supposed to go queen b3. Not an easy move to find in bullet. And then you just keep the tension with bishop d7.
Sorry.
Now, oops, sorry. You broke off for just a second. What were you saying?
I was just promoting the variation.
So one sideline advice that I would have, and this is maybe too general, but these moves that keep the tension like bishop d7, you want to make yourself this rule that if you don't know what to do, it's best to have a supply of these moves like rook c1, rook e8. Try to practice making those moves quickly if you're not sure what to do, because sometimes you just want to keep the tension and you want your opponent to be the first to flinch. You don't always have to be the one to open up the position or have a plan. Plenty of times I don't have a plan. I literally just play king h1, king g1. There's no shame in that. Okay. Let them be the one to waste a bunch of time searching for a plan in these kinds of positions.
For sure.
So bishop d7 is good. And black is slightly better.
And then what if white just keeps the tension?
Okay.
Do that. It is hard to find moves for white here.
It is.
I don't want to take. And where are my pieces going? So no, you know what? This is enough. This line looks bad. We can go back. I don't think you're gonna take on h6. Okay. So
yeah.
h6.
And we'll look at bishop h6 and bishop d3 also. So knight h6, I'm anticipating that people will play the same way they do after queen b6. So let's start with a3.
Yep.
Because that is, as you know, the main move against queen b6, and people just tend to copy.
I'm curious why you like knight h6, but knight e7 was a bad line.
Well, I think knight e7. No, probably knight e7 is a way of doing it, but I think knight h6 allows for f6, whereas knight e7, f6, you sever the connection between the queen and the f6 square.
So do you go for f6 right away here?
In certain positions, I'm just looking up so there is let me just see. You can play either knight f5 or f6. I marked f6 as interesting. So it depends what level of craziness you want in the position.
What do you think is better for bullet?
Let me see. Let me see how a knight f5 line goes.
I love how you just have these files.
Well, I prepared the French for the 2016 U.S. Championship, so okay. I would say you're probably going to be more comfortable with knight f5.
Okay.
But I got blasted by Fabi in 20 moves, despite all of these
files. Yeah, I mean,
files.
he was world number 2, so it does happen, Danya.
I went from time to time. So b4 is how everybody plays this. Okay. Now, one very important conceptual
There's
point.
also the bishop d3, bishop takes idea.
That is a great structure for black in bullet. Because...
I get this structure very often, even in my shit 97 line, because everybody is tempted to go for this, so they actually play this line almost 80% of the time that I get in the advance. So this is a position I often have, and then I do struggle with a little bit, because I go for things like bishop e6, h6, e7, sometimes g5,
yeah,
or
definitely g5.
But then I get kind of in trouble on the queen side.
Okay, so let's do this step by step. So cd4, let me just make sure I'm telling you the right stuff here. So bishop d3, cd, bishop f5, ed. So cd, bishop e7 is good. Yeah, so or bishop e6, but I like starting with bishop e7 to cover the g5 square.
Yep, this is how I play it too, and then normally they castle.
Okay, they castle immediately. Okay, great.
Yeah,
now g5 is already an advantage for black, by the way.
Interesting.
And
which is good, because this is the line I play, and then I usually get met by something like e4.
Okay, so let me just see if I've analyzed this. So b4, you want to go bishop e6 is good, or you can go f4. I mean, I think for bullet, f4 is the best.
So basically, you don't need to play a6.
You can, but you don't need to, because b5 is met with knight a5, and you're totally fine. But a6 is also fine, and the way that they have to respond to a6 is quite difficult. But f4 is good.
Okay, and let's say knight c3, trying to come for something like this.
Okay, so the point here for black is that you're going to combine these moves with just regular development. You don't have to go crazy on the king side.
So you don't have to go nuts and push everything.
No, you actually can castle to that side and go king h8. And knight a4 is met with, and prophylaxis is super effective in bullet, so what do you think you do here?
So you said prophylaxis, which makes me think I'm just improving the position of my pieces. Otherwise, I would have been tempted to push b6.
No, you're correct. That is what it is.
Oh, okay.
b6 is right, stopping their idea.
Okay.
And white has no moves. Like
okay,
bishop b2, I guess?
Yeah, I guess you have to play bishop b2. You're bringing your rook to c1.
Now, again, you play slowly and you improve your position to the maximum. Queen d7, rook c8, castle king h8. You don't actually ever... And this is also very effective in bullet, because they never know when you're going to play g4. So they're constantly on the edge.
Yeah, it's like the guillotine above their head, you know? It's going to drop at some point. They're afraid.
Right, exactly. So black is just much better here. And you can play moves fast. Queen d7, castle, rook c8, bishop f5, queen e6. And white is just worse.
I think I've just gone crazy in these lines generally, and that's why it's been an issue.
Yeah, because then you have to calculate. If you go like g4, g3 too early, your king ends up being weak. So normally you actually do want to castle and go king h8 here.
Castle and king h8, okay.
And rook g8 maybe, to even make g4 stronger if you do go crazy at some point.
Right. I'm just going to do this for the line, because I can't save the arrows. I know it's silly, but you know what I mean, how in chess space you usually have those. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that makes sense. So this is a bad line if they do castle.
Yes, they shouldn't castle that early.
Okay, so if they take, I'm good. If they don't take, so if I play knight b5 and they push b4, then what do I do?
So then there's a cool line. You take on d4, and first you go bishop d7. The reason you develop your queen side first is you want the potential to play rook c. You also have a really cool shot. So if they go bishop b2, you have the very strong move b5. And there's actually a simple tactical idea. What is it?
I don't like that you said simple. Just kidding. Okay, so let's see. So what would I look at? Knight takes, queen here, bishop takes. Those are the options. Anything else?
Any other captures by the knight?
And e5.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is. And in general, right, you can't capture elsewhere because white's going to take with check.
Yeah.
And then white's going to take the knight. So black's already better here. I mean, bishop d6, castle, you've got the c4 square, etc.
So he can't take on b5 then?
He can't take on b5. So the main move is knight c3.
Right,
and
this is the kind of thing that can be annoying. Oh, you can't do it anymore though, so never mind.
Oh, wait, you mean bishop b5?
No, I was tripping. So you
okay,
push
okay.
a5, you don't go a6 here?
Nope, you push a5.
Interesting, because I would
Aggressive.
often play a6 here.
So
I
you
don't think I've
could
ever pushed a5. I've always done a6. So this is a big discovery for me. This is an epiphany
a5.
moment for me, Danya.
Well,
Yes,
it's a
thank
pretty
you.
unique position. I don't know if we've transposed into something theoretical, or you're just saying in general.
Just in general, I haven't thought of this.
You could play a6. I mean, it's solid. And
No, but show me a5. Show me a5.
Okay, so a5. What do you think white will do here?
So b5 is hanging, and now it would be defended. Although b4 is also hanging, so it's pretty messy. But obviously, we have to look at both of the captures, because otherwise, then this pawn is under attack, and you have to play something like knight a2 or queen b3.
Right, which is pretty passive. You'll just take anyway.
Right. So I imagine taking on b5 is the sharpest line.
But it's really simple. You just take and essentially you're going to attack them on the queen side. Their pawn on d4 is super weak. You're going to castle. You're going to go queen b6. It's super easy play. Their bishop is really bad.
This really solves the advanced variation with how people my level play bullet, honestly.
Yeah, knight h6 is a very dangerous. I play it myself in bullet, so it's like I everything that I've shown you, I actually play. So
I appreciate you bringing out the goods, Danya.
no, I'm happy to, more than happy to, and this line isn't like completely unknown. It's been played, and yeah, so that's basically you go bishop d7, then b5, and then a5. Now, what I would say is don't worry too much about trying to remember every little move. If you're not sure, just play the solid move, like play
I'm
a6.
so desperate for my hair that I might just learn these moves generally and then play them by intuition.
Yeah, that would be the best. Now, one last thing.
Yeah.
In the position where they played knight c3, if they try not this one, not this one, but where was the other line? The one where they played a3 and b4.
Okay.
It takes bishop d7, bishop b2, b5. So in this position, remind me how you follow up.
So knight b2, I just go a5 here.
Yeah, crucial, because otherwise don't let them get the knight to c5. You need to attack the pawn and break it down, and now take with the knight so that knight can go where?
So that knight could go to c4.
Bingo. Exactly.
Do you like me adding crucial in the notes?
I love it. This is just professional file right here.
Exactly. These kinds of files, they're beautiful.
This is awesome. No, this is this is right up your alley. I think if we can solve your black openings, and I think we've gone a long way already, then
exactly.
I think you'll be in
solve
good
my
shape.
black openings, then I'm gonna stop tilting half the time, and it's just gonna help so much. It's helping so much. Okay, let me save this one also. Okay. I'm gonna rename it advanced. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I don't really have as much trouble with the other ones. Can I just ask you really quickly about how to play against King's Indian attack with the French? Because
Sure.
you play it very well.
So yeah, King's Indian attack is
Not
definitely
the
annoying.
sharpest, just if you have some kind of variation you'd recommend here.
Yeah, so obviously like the main line is like c5, knight c6. Well, one very good
And
setup.
also because it transposes, and a lot of people play knight f3 or this line.
I think the setup recommended to me by my old coach is so you go c5, knight c6, and now you go g6, and you've probably seen this before, like knight e7 or knight f6, except, and I've played this, normally people go knight e7, but knight f6 is actually a very underrated move here.
Because if e5, you have knight d7.
And you win the pawn. That's what makes this so hard for white to play. So rook e1, for example, you can castle. They still lose their pawn if they go e5.
Okay, so you're keeping the tension, which is really annoying in bullet.
Yeah, exactly. And if they go c3, then you actually can take on e4. So the moment they go c3, you take on e4. And the reason why is that they weaken the d3 square.
Okay, and here you go e5?
You can go e5. Yeah, that's fine.
Is it good?
No, it's equal. It's equal. It's a
okay, what would you
position.
recommend?
So let me check actually. If you just give me a second, I'm gonna see if I have anything on this line.
Take your time.
We'll be precise.
When you say it's fine, it makes
No, it's good. It's good. But let me just see. So here, g6, g7, f6. Because I remember a game in this line. All right, just one moment. Okay, let's see.
So many people are really enjoying your lesson, by the way. So
I'm glad to hear that. I am as well. This is, I'm happy that your openings are going to get solved, because that's honestly like a hidden reason.
Honestly, this is going to be so helpful, because even when I look at variations, like I looked at the advanced today, I was like, or no, I looked at the classical and I didn't even think about taking on e4.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so here. So rook e1 castles e5.
I'm curious what you're gonna come up with. D takes. Like, what else would I do here?
So you can play with knight g7, by the way, that's good, but queen b6 here is interesting. Sorry, not d takes e4. Queen b6 in this position.
Oh, so you don't... Wait, you just told me to take as soon as they push d3, Danya.
It's all equal. You can play queen b6, you can take... It's honestly it's all fine.
Okay.
And... One sec. It's all fine. But I like queen b6 because a lot of people will play e5 here, and what's wrong with that move?
Knight d7.
Knight d7, and if d4?
Sorry, knight... Well, knight d7 and if d4... Oh, that's why you want to play knight g4.
No, that's why you want to play queen b6 to prevent d4, because you can just take everything on d4.
Oh, true. Sorry. For some reason, I thought there was a deeper tactic where you take everything and you take on e5 and you trick your opponent into taking and open on f2.
You basically want them to take on d5. Then you're going to get a great position.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. Now, a lot of people don't know to play c3. They'll struggle, or they'll go knight f1 in this position. Mm-hmm. Which is totally colorless. I mean, here you can go queen c7, or you could even just win the pawn. White can get some compensation if he's careful, but not in bullet.
Okay, this is perfect.
So this is what I would recommend. We can definitely work on that more in the future as well.
I'm just gonna save this for the king's.
Definitely.
Okay, got it. Oh, this is so helpful. This solves my issues with the French.
I'm glad to hear that. And what we should do is, when you play, get a couple of games in each of these lines, we'll go back and we'll review what people have done and what you did in response, and we'll improve.
Yeah, no, this is perfect because my black openings are so bad that I'm pretty sure even if I just learn these. Oh, I did have another question in the King's Indian. I'm sorry, we've done so much opening theory.
It's all good. This is what you need to do.
What was the other question that I had? What would you suggest? Well, yeah, I play the same-ish. What would you suggest against the same-ish? Because I don't like the c5 line in bullet, and the knight d7 line is really awkward.
Okay, so should we? Can I use this board, or do you want to make a new?
I'm just gonna make a new one, really. All right.
So let's delve into the same-ish.
Yes, please.
There's like two lines that I was debating over, but have you seen knight c6?
I have seen it occasionally, yeah.
Okay,
and
so this
D6, if they play d6, you go back, right?
So I've noticed that you play d5 with white, but that's actually not the best because of knight e5.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn for our next odds match.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because d5 knight e5, black starts. You go c6 and
wait, but and f4 doesn't work because you just play here. Yeah, okay.
Well, f4 actually you play knight e4, and a lot of people go here, but basically white's position is already falling apart. You can go c5.
Okay.
And they have nothing to do with the bishop.
Okay, I'll just that's good enough for this.
Yeah, now most people play knight g2, the main line.
Yeah, makes sense. Or queen d2.
Yeah, or queen d2. Well, queen d2.
I know the knight c6 a6 line, as in I've seen it before because I also play the same-ish, but I haven't ever played it as black.
So queen d2 is inaccurate, I think, because of e5, d5, and now where does the knight go?
d4.
Yeah, knight d4, and this is really interesting. And after knight d4, if they take twice, do you know how to react?
My guess would
There's a tactic.
I assumed, Danya.
Yeah, you'd never know. There's a tactic.
There's a tactic.
It's not like there's a discovered attack.
Is it knight takes e4?
And if queen e4
takes rook e8, yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Knight e4, queen e4, rook e8. Yeah. So, and some people do fall into that. They just automatically take. Now, but almost everybody's going to go knight g2. You go a6, and they go queen d2. Now here, there's a very tricky line where you go knight a5 immediately. Thank you, real Mr. Perry, for the 5 gifted. Appreciate it. So knight a5.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how you're going to win a bunch of games. Now, most people play b3. And you play b5. People assume this is like a Benko gambit.
You've done this to me so many times, Danya.
Yes.
And every
Why do you
time
think I play this?
I'm never gonna fall for it again. And then I forget we play again 2 months after, and what do? I fall into this again.
Exactly. So I actually play this in classical chess. Again, this is my main line, but knight takes b3, as you know, is the idea. The most annoying tactic of all time.
It's so annoying because you play the moves on autopilot and bullet, and then you just fall into it.
No, it's really, really hard because when people don't see it, they resort to their first instinct. The great thing is, if they defend upon in another way, if they go knight g3, then you go b5, and it's the same thing, right? Knight b3 is a threat.
Right, because that's why you're supposed to play knight c1, though, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Knight c1 is the main line. And now you go knight steps out to d7. Several ideas. You might play c5, but most of the time you're going to go e5 and quickly f5. So you're opening up the possibility for f5. Yeah.
Okay.
And if they go b4, again, as in many lines of the King's Indian, you want to provoke them into as many of these pawn moves as possible. Because a lot of people will do something like this, and after e5, black is already better. I mean, that's the nature of the King's Indian. You have a5 and f5, and you just have to play very energetically and keep the pressure.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and this isn't I mean, I think there's a little concern in my chat. This is not you can find my game in this line in the database. Like, this is a legitimate attempt at equality. Of course, white can play it perfectly, and white can try to get an edge, but it's not easy. And it's worth the trick in bullet, because you're going to definitely win some games this way.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So I'm just going to save this PGN and look at this line. Perfect. This is better than my 97 stuff.
Yeah, no, 97 is past, and you can't let white do his main stuff with the g4, h4.
Yeah. I like that you actually play this opening as black too. So
right, it's very convenient.
Yeah,
so,
okay, perfect.
So that's the same-ish. Okay, so
I think you've given so much with the openings. This is already extremely helpful.
Okay, so let's pause the openings for now, and we can do white in the next session.
Yeah, no, this is perfect, because I want to be able to review these. It's already so helpful, and now it's on me to just learn these, and I think it's already going to be very, very much a lift in my bullet.
I appreciate it, and now I'm personally invested in this, so it's not a problem, and
are you so personally invested that if I don't reach 2,500, you'll also shave your head?
I don't know about that level of personal investment, but
wait, but Danya, you think I'm really gonna lose?
No, I mean, so you're saying, you caught me there. You caught me there.
You don't believe in me?
I don't just believe in you. I mean, I believe in you so much that not only will I shave my head, the only reason that I won't make a commitment is because I am full of I 100% believe in you. If I didn't believe in you, I wouldn't be doing this. How about that?
I'll take it.
I know that's half-assed, but you get what I'm saying.
It's okay, chat. He coached us. He doesn't have to believe in us. He doesn't have to put his hair on the line. It's not like it would grow back faster than ours.
My hair does grow back pretty fast, so maybe I should put it on the line. Well, here's the thing. I'll revisit this question in a couple of days when I see your progress.
Okay, that sounds good, Danya.
as a ceasefire.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to make sure that I go over these lines so that it was, a good use of your time. I know you're super busy.
Of course, it's not a problem. And so I assume you're just going to play some bullet.
Honestly, I might end and put these lines into chess base and just kind of save them. Are you going to keep streaming, by the way?
I'm going to keep streaming for a bit, yeah. And what we can do is we can do some white openings next time, and we can do some practical drill. We can just play a bunch of games with black. And we'll play complete games just so you can, get as much practice as possible, because that's going to be crucial.
It will, but I definitely don't want to practice bullet until I've actually learned these lines. Kind of like doing puzzles, you want to understand it before you do the speed.
Okay, so let's make it a priority to just play a bunch of games in these lines next time.
Exactly. So I'm going to make sure that I learn these and I have them memorized, and then if we could do some practice games, and then I'll play more bullet and I'll let you know where I'm at. Perfect. I'll try to make myself available ASAP. But this was awesome, Alexandra. I'm very, very happy to help. And thank you so much, Danya. You will get 2,500. You're almost there, and I honestly think the openings are the biggest thing holding you back. 6 is not almost there, but I do. 3 games against Sikaro or me, and yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you so much, Danya. Of course, my pleasure, Alexandra. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.